ever stopped to figure out which nostril you were breathing out of? Wait, what? Yep, we don't actually breathe out of both nostrils equally at the same time. And I'm going to talk about why and how we can use this to our advantage and help our body reduce stress and drain more. So if this interests you, make sure you stay because we're going to do some different ways to breathe. And I want you to see how this affects you. Super cool. So your nostrils naturally switch side to side throughout the day. And that switch roughly happens between 90 minutes and 6 hours, depending upon your body's needs. Now you might be like, say what? Yep, we are ultimately breathing more through one nostril than the other, and it's going to switch and change as the day goes on. Now, if you're totally congested or you don't breathe through your nose, that is a problem in and of itself. We really should be nasal breathers because it filters and warms the air, which takes a ton of pressure off of our lungs, our lymphatic system, and it increases nitric oxide. So if you're not a nasal breather, that's something that you really should start to work on and figure out what you can do, because the outcome from nasal breathing is huge. It has so many health benefits. And if you're wondering, like, what the heck is this lady talking about? There's a great book called Breathe. Go and read it. It's fantastic. It talks about how we've changed how we breathe. Just breathe from way before to now. It's so cool. I love that kind of stuff. So if you do too, check out that book. I have no affiliate with it, and I'm drawing a blank on the author right now, but it's a great read. And so when we get back to the nasal, why this is important is because, like I said, we're not breathing through both nostrils at the same time or equally. So what happens is when one nostril is dominant, the tissue inside that one nostril shrinks to allow more space for more air to get in, whereas the other side actually swells a little. It ultimately inflames a bit to restrict airflow through that nostril, and then it switches off. So again, the switch happens between 90 minutes to 6 hours, just depending upon what's going on. And it really isn't that random either. Each nostril is going to affect the brain differently. And so your body is actually going to intentionally alter which side you are breathing through to try and balance out your nervous system, and or for your nervous system to respond appropriately based on what you're currently dealing with, so your current situation. So let's talk about which side does what. So your right nostril has been shown to be more sympathetic based. What does that mean? Well, when we are breathing through our right nostril, what's going to happen is it's going to ultimately help increase our heart rate and blood pressure. It's going to raise body temperature. It's going to increase our alertness. It's ultimately getting us into more of that sympathetic state, that fight or flight response, which can be really important, especially if we're under a ton of stress or for working out, right? If you're running, if you're doing cardio, that is a stressful situation. And so check and see which nostril you're breathing out of, and then you may be able to switch it. So stay tuned because we're going to talk about switching nostrils to help shift your system. So if the right side is more sympathetic based, the left nostril is going to be more parasympathetic based. So the parasympathetic system is that rest, digest, and drain. That's not what it's coined, but I like to throw that in there because we cannot drain if we are stuck in fight or flight. If we are stuck in a sympathetic state, our body can't drain. So when we are breathing more through our left nostril, you may experience things like a lower heart rate, a reduction in your blood pressure, an increase in vagal tone, which is really important. So the vagus nerve is part of the parasympathetic system that helps with resting and digesting. It's an amazing nerve that we have the ability to actually control based on some different things like gargling, humming. We can do cold therapy down the side of our neck. There's a whole bunch of ways that we can stimulate our vagal nerve. And it also reduces our stress hormone. So you might be thinking, what kind of woo-woo is this lady talking about right now? It's actually not. This is very measurable, and they have measured it through EEGs and HRV studies and different clinical trials that have been done on both yoga, breathing. So that has been very much backed up. So I want you to think of this. Think of it this way. Your right nostril's your gas pedal. Your left nostril's your brake. We're going to alternate between the two, which is going to give us balance. So if you need gas, if you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta go, I'm exercising, or, you're in a stressful situation, you're going to be wanting to breathe through your right side. If, however, you're wanting to digest food, you're wanting to fall asleep, you want to be breathing through your left side. So gas and brake. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's kind of cool, but what the heck does this have to do with drainage? I come to you for drainage. What does this have to do with drainage? I'm going to tell you. This actually is going to affect 3 different things. It's going to affect our nervous system, it's going to affect our breathing pressure, and it's going to affect nitric oxide production. All of these are going to ultimately influence drainage. So let's start with the parasympathetic activation. So when we are activating our parasympathetic nervous system, again, through left nostril breathing, several things that are going to happen that are going to help support lymphatic drainage. So when we breathe through the left side, our vagal nerve is ultimately going to become activated. And like I said, we can activate it a couple different ways with gargling and humming, diaphragmatic breathing. All of those are fantastic. But breathing through a left nostril is also going to do that. It's going to also help the smooth muscle in the lymph vessels to contract more efficiently. It's going to be smoother. It's not going to be quite as jerky. So it's going to be the smooth rhythmic flow, which is exactly what our lymphatic vessels need in order to move fluid up through the vessels, because remember, it doesn't have a pump of its own. So left nostril breathing is going to help with that. It's going to help reduce inflammation. It's going to help increase blood flow. And then as a result, the lymphatic tone is going to improve. I mean, who doesn't want that? Simply by breathing through a left nose. This is why people literally feel less congested or even less puffy after just a few minutes of left nostril breathing. It's pretty cool. The next thing that left nostril breathing will do is it's going to create a pressure change that's going to help move your lymphatic fluid. So I've already mentioned your lymph system does not have a pump. It relies on us to move it. And one of the things that it relies on is muscle movement. It's going to rely on breath. Remember, using our diaphragm. Our diaphragm needs to be activated in order to help drain, especially the fluid from our abdomen all the way down to our toes. The only way that it pumps up and comes up through the thoracic duct to drain on the left side is from activating our diaphragm. And then having good posture, creating pressure gradients. So that pressure gradient is one of the reasons why I talk about clearing your termini. Clearing our termini is where all of our fluid drains to, but this needs to be the lowest pressure in our whole body when it comes to the lymphatic system, because fluid flows from high pressure to low pressure. So if this is not low pressure, we're not going to end up having proper drainage. So left nostril breathing is also going to help with creating that pressure gradient to help with the lymphatic fluid to drain. And when we create this pressure gradient, I'm talking more about the head right now because we're talking about left nostril. That's going to help clear the sinuses. It's going to help create more of a subtle pressure change, which is going to help clear the brain. Not only is it going to help clear the brain, it will also help clear our facial features as well. So like puffiness under the eye, sinus congestion, double chin, all of that's going to improve as we create that pressure gradient or that pressure change from breathing through our left nostril more than the right. And then one of the coolest things that happens when we breathe through our left nostril is it increases nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is super important. And one of my most favorite facts is that when you breathe through your nose, instead of your mouth, you're ultimately delivering between 10 and 15 times more nitric oxide into your lungs and therefore bloodstream. Now, why that's important is because nitric oxide is a vasodilator, meaning it's going to dilate our vessels. It's also an anti-inflammatory marker, it's an immune modulator, and it's ultimately like a microcirculation booster. So when we're breathing slowly and effortlessly through our left nostril, it's going to have a widespread effect on the whole body, not just head drainage, not just lymphatic drainage. It really helps support everything. So let's do a quick practice breathing through our nose to see what does this feel like. So first step, because this is something that you literally can do anytime. What I want you to do is I want you to close one nostril and then breathe through the other one. And then close that other nostril and breathe through it. Right now, I am right nostril dominant. Which side are you? It's important to know where you're at. So it's interesting to see that one side is more congested than the other, right? And by congested, I mean more restricted. The airflow is more restricted. It doesn't mean you have congestion. It's just more restricted. Now what we're going to do is we're going to close our right nostril. We're going to inhale through our left nostril for a count of 4. Exhale through our nostril for a count of 6. And we're going to do this 3 times. Okay, ready? Exhale. Inhale. exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Did it get easier? Did it start to open up? It does. Now, for some of us, it may take a little longer. So 30 seconds might not be enough. You might need to do a minute or 2 minutes of simply plugging your right nostril and breathing through the left. It also helps laying down. Laying down takes out gravity and it helps relax the nervous system. So that can also improve or make it easier to stimulate your left nostril. All right, one more thing to try. What I want to do is we're going to alternate nostrils. So we're going to inhale through one, then we're going to exhale through the other, then we're going to inhale through that one and exhale through the other. So we're ultimately going to just be switching. Okay, ready? So let's start with inhaling through the left for a count of 4 and then exhale for a count of 6. Switch. Now inhale, switch, and exhale. Now inhale, switch, exhale. Inhale, switch, and exhale. This helps balance everything out by switching between it. Again, it may take more than a few switches between them, but I want you to give this a try and see if you notice a difference. Now, when might you practice left nostril breathing versus right nostril breathing versus alternate nostril breathing? Let's dive into that real quick so you understand when to do what so you can incorporate this the best way possible to get the best results possible. Let's start with left. Remember, left is that rest, digest, and drain. This is the parasympathetic side. So this is great if we have fluid retention, if we have puffiness, if we have sinus pressure, if we have headaches, if we have anxiety, if we're having a hard time falling asleep, or really anytime that we're doing any type of lymphatic drainage, you can ultimately plug your right nostril and then do your diaphragmatic breathing through the left while you're going through your lymphatic routine. Now, when might you want to plug your left and do right nostril breathing? You may be like, well, why would I want to do that? Well, you might want to do it first thing in the morning. If you wake up and you feel a little sluggish, lack of energy, this is a great time to do it. If you have some focus issues, middle of the day, you're dragging, you're like, oh my gosh, where's my second cup of coffee, third cup, 5 cup? This might be something you want to do instead of going for that extra cup of coffee or caffeine. Give it a try. See what happens. And that might also be too, if you are lacking motivation or even have brain fog, kicking and getting yourself going can be great by stimulating the right. Now, when might you want to do the alternate nostril breathing? That is really great for clearing sinus congestion. If you have a lot of sinus congestion, altering your nasal breathing, when you're doing it, could be really beneficial to help flush things out. It can help balance your mood. It can help prepare you before doing a good meditation. So it gets you into more of a relaxed state. It can also help clear with brain fog. If you don't notice a big difference with just the right nostril, try doing the bilateral nostril breathing and see what happens. So what I hope you got from this video is we can greatly influence our nervous system just based on plugging one nostril and breathing in and out through that one nostril, or doing the bilateral plugging and changing. Yogis have been doing this for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and they were definitely onto something. Give it a try, and I would love it if you came back and told me how it went for you. What did you notice? And if you're like, wait a minute, diaphragmatic breathing, how do I do that? Go check out the video that I did where I literally break down diaphragmatic breathing to make it as simple as possible, because diaphragmatic breathing combined with nasal breathing is like magic to your drainage pathways. And it's not just lymphatic drainage pathway, it's gut and liver and all the things. So give that video a check if you need some diaphragmatic help. And thanks for being here. As always, happy draining.